whatever it is you're doing for that amount of time. And when you're running as many businesses as I do have certain things that I do on Mondays, certain things that I do on Fridays, certain things, so that even though it may not be a certain amount of time per day, it's a certain day dedicated that week or whatever to do that task or focus on that business or just do social media or answer emails or phone calls or whatever. So by having that kind of a structure, it keeps me kind of focused in on whatever the task may be.
Now that's good because a lot of times people jump, like you said, like a bunny rabbit from one thing to the next. And of course, that eliminates the fact that they may or may not accomplish a lot that day because they're going from one task to the other and never complete any single task. Now, remind us again, what are the different types of businesses that you have?
Well, I have 3 actual businesses under the Focus on Fabulous umbrella, but I have about 14 different streams of income. But my 3 businesses, I am a photographer. I do boudoir, for lack of a better word, is my specialty, but I do a lot for businesses in branding and professional headshots. I have a quarterly publication that is going on 6 years now. We're putting our 25th issue together right now. And so that's very time consuming, getting content and putting it together. And during the pandemic of March of 2020 or June of 2020, I actually launched Fabulous Business Solutions that helps small businesses get things done that they need done, that they just don't know how to do, where to go, what resources are out there, whatever. And so we provide that bridge to get them from where they are to where they want to be.
Okay. So now, with the photography, how did you decide how you were going to structure your photography business? Is it just photography of headshots of professionals? Or is it also photography of product shots? Is it photography and of people in their offices that you're going to put in your magazine? So when you say your photography business, what all does that comprise of?
Well, from a personal standpoint, like I said, my specialty is boudoir, the ooh la la for lovely ladies.
Right.
From a personal standpoint. From a business standpoint, yes, I have gone to, I'm doing a website for a lady right now who is a salon owner and she makes her own skincare products. So I went to her shop, we set up a nice display of her products, and I took photos of her products to put on her website. Branding, I do, you and your brand, whatever that may be, whether you're a restaurant owner or a salon owner or whatever, I get you in your element doing what you do. So, I pretty much can do, if I have a camera, I'll shoot anything, but those are the things that I get requested to do quite a bit, that and professional headshots. Everybody should have their picture on their business card, at least. When you're networking and you leave there with 30 or 40 business cards, people are going to go, who is this person? And having your picture on your business card is really going to put the face with the name and your business. So that's very important. I can't stress that enough.
Funny
And
you
it
should.
should be updated. I mean, some people have a headshot, it's like 30 pounds and 20 years ago,
That brings up an interesting point. Yesterday there was the North Charleston Business Expo, right? So we went to the Business Expo, and like you said, you're collecting business cards. Now, what I tend to do is I make a note on the business card, like, booth number so-and-so. We talked about X, Y, and Z. Because you're right. You come back and you got a stack of business cards and you're trying to recall, why did I get this person's business card? What did we talk about? What did I say I was going to do? That kind of thing. So you're right, a picture does. Now, on another occasion, what I did was I went to an event and I took my iPad, and as I took a business card, I held the business card up next to the person, and I took a picture of the person and the business card. So you're exactly right about that. You do have to have some kind of system to be able to remember whose business card it is and why you got it. So your suggestion or recommendation of putting a picture on it, that's another twist to it, and certainly would work as well. So now, let me ask you, your marketing, how do you market your different services to people?
Well, I am a connector. I I toot a lot of horns for a lot of people, both through my businesses personally and through my publication. So I'm always connecting somebody with somebody else. Oh, I know somebody who needs this, or you should talk to this person, or this person's looking for what you have. And inevitably, I was at a co-working thing yesterday, and somebody says, oh, I'm working on this and I need help with it. Can you help me? And, so I ended up walking out of there with a gig in hand and two potential ones just by being in the right place and talking to people. And I find, building that connection and making a relationship does a lot more than just posting something online that says, we do this, because you're making that personal connection and building that relationship.
So now, when you go to events, and we already know you do business cards, and we're going to get to your consulting business in just a minute. But now, when you're at an event, how do you tend to use that event to talk about your different services that you offer? What is one of the techniques that you use?
Well, first of all, my elevator pitch. If you don't know what an elevator pitch is, it's, well, not you, Daryl, because I know you know, but anybody in the listening world. It's just what you say about who you are and what you do, as if you were in an elevator headed to the next floor. So you've only got, 20 or 30 seconds to say that. And my elevator pitch is that I'm Michelle with Focus on Fabulous. I'm a transformation artist that helps bring out the best in you and your business. Well, that's all great, but how do you do that? So that leaves them saying, well, how do you do that? Oh, well, we're at the next floor. Let's talk. And then I get to go through, well, tell me about your business. Tell me about you. What do you need? And then I can pull out from there the various things that I do and how I think I can help you and so forth.
Oh, that's very tricky there, Miss
Well, it's not
Michelle.
tricky. I mean, I'm not
No,
trying to
I
trick
know. I'm just
anyone.
having
I'm
some fun.
valuing people's
Right.
time.
Yeah.
And I am a listener. I'm very big on listening to who you are and what you do. And truthfully, people come to me and they, if they have an issue or a need or something and I'm listening, then I can fill that need or create whatever it is the problem they're trying to solve. And I don't have to keep going back to them every 5 minutes going, what did you say? How was that? Did you need this? Because I've already taken the time and done that for them. So, I mean, I want to be respectful of their time as well.
Right, right. So now, of the different techniques that you use, and as far as introducing yourself and introducing your businesses, how do you introduce and talk about your business when you're not at an event? What types of media you use? Radio, TV, newspaper, your own magazine, your Facebook, your Instagram. What do you find to be the best methods to talk about Michelle Bryant?
I find that, and I have, I think, 5 websites. I have 3 or 4 Facebook pages. I have a podcast. I'm on LinkedIn. I have 2 Instagrams. So social media, online wise, I have two Google My Business pages. I'm out there, but I can truly say the most effective lead source that I have is me and referrals, because people who know me refer me. And a lot of it comes through Facebook or LinkedIn. Somebody will say, I need somebody to design a logo, or does anybody know how to do? I had somebody the other day who needed some help with Canva. And, they said, does anybody know how to deal with Canva? And I teach a Canva 101 class. So somebody tagged me in the post, and I ended up getting this lady and helping her get through some of the basics of Canva so that she can upgrade her business through doing her own posts and things like that. And so just between referrals and my own big mouth, that's where I get the most leads.
All right. All right. All right. Well, let me ask you another thing that I wanted to talk to you about that we didn't have a chance to talk about when we had that 7 hours discussion. That seven
It keeps
hours went
getting
so fast.
bigger and bigger. It started at
Well,
3, then it went to 5, now it's 7.
hey, it's called the fisherman's story. The
Right, I was going to
fishermen,
say,
they started and then they started and the fish grew and grew and
right, I was
grew.
going to say, that sounds
So,
like a fisherman's story.
so I just want to make sure everybody's following our timeline here. So, your management style, I know you do a lot of work yourself, but how do you manage other people when they are working with you, for you on a project? What's your style?
Well, I will be honest, that is an area that I struggle because I am a diehard perfectionist. I believe that, the client is paying good money for whatever service, and I always under promise and over deliver. And when I under promise, I'm still going to strive for excellence. So I expect my team to give me no less than excellence. And a lot of times I'll be like, okay, but there's 4 typos on this. I can't present this to the client with 4 typos. Why didn't you check it? So I think on the one hand, it makes my team be a little better at their own criteria of what's acceptable. Um, I just have to watch my approach because I don't want to be this hammer that's constantly coming down on somebody. But I want them to put themselves in the eyes of the client and say, we don't produce shoddy work, and we don't want to have a reputation for, oh, well, they had to redo it 4 times for piddly junk. So I always strive for excellence, and a lot of what I find is hurry up and do it and just get something out there. And I would rather spend the extra little time. And so a lot of my contractors and freelancers that I work with, I've had to kind of hone them back and say, this is what we expect, and this is what we're going to do, and this is what I need from you. And, if you can't do that, then I need to find somebody else. But I haven't had anybody, bail on me yet, knock on wood. So,
Okay. Well, that kind of takes me back to a question about your organization, the structure of your organization. It sounds to me like you have a core organization, and then as the task dictates and require, you have to go out and get what we call gig workers or contractors or freelancers. Is that about true with some of the projects you work on?
yes and no.
Okay.
I do have a team that does certain things for me. And a lot of stuff I do myself. I mean,
Right.
I'm a graphic designer. I'm a published author. I've got my own publication. I've got, my own gifts and strengths and talents. But, there are things that I don't know or do. So I do hire people to do those. But I expect them to do them as if I was doing them.
Right. Right. Understandable. You know, there's a concept that has been developed, and certainly I adopted it in my methods of managing and organizing projects, because we all sometimes get overwhelmed with requests to do work for different people. And sometimes, even though we are graphic artists, you may not have the time to put into doing something for someone else. So you may take the project, start the project, and identify people who can, to your standards of perfection, come in and assist and do the project. So I'm just saying that I understand this thing called a virtual organization. You know, we all
Right.
start an organization, it's just me, myself, and I. Bottle washer, salesperson, collector of the doggone bills and everything else. But as the demand for your services start to increase, it now requires you to bring in extra people to assist. So I
Right. And at
understand.
the end of the day, it's a team effort.
Right,
We all did this together. I
right.
don't take sole credit for anything that is done because I have a team that helps me. And me personally, it I prefer it that way. One, because despite my best efforts, I can't do everything myself. I mean, I don't sleep as it is, so I would, but I get to I get to bless somebody else with compensation and work and talent and building their portfolios and, all of these other things. And so I am a huge believer in the power of collaboration. And when we come together and we put our talents and our strengths together, we're going to create something more monumental and more magnificent than just by ourselves, no matter how fabulous we may be.
This is very true. It does help to have, it does help, I should say, to have more than one point of view or perspective on a project, because sometimes somebody might see a different way to peel that onion that makes it even a better onion soup. But, too often, sometimes some people think, well, I'm the only person that can peel an onion, and my way is the best way and the only way. And then they soon discover, no, it's not that way. So I'm glad to hear and have you say that even as a perfecter, and even as a person that has a lot of projects that you work on, that you do from time to time require other people to come in under your direction and leadership to be able to help you to complete the project, especially if it's a time sensitive project as well.
Well, we all have something to bring to the table. And yeah, seeing something from another pair of eyes is always good. Sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. You're so into something that you totally miss it. But a lot of times it's just nice to have somebody else's talent. It's like, oh, I really wish we could do this, and they're like, oh, I can do that. It's like, oh, that's exactly what I need. And so by collaborating our strengths and talents with others' strengths and talents, it just makes beautiful stuff.
It does. Now, finally, before I let you go, in your consulting business, when you consult other business owners, what do you see as some of the, well, let me phrase it this way. What do you see as the top three challenges that you have to teach new business owners to overcome?
Oh, um, time management is a huge thing.
Okay.
Obviously, as business owners, and we've all been there, myself included, trying to do it all. So delegating is huge. It's hard to let your baby go. And like, for example, I did a website for a restaurant and I set up her reservation. She has a calendar on there now where people can make reservations to her restaurant, whereas she was every day on the phone taking reservations over the phone while she's trying to run her restaurant. So that has freed her up with so much time now to actually take care of the customers at hand. And now other customers can go online and schedule their reservations and book to come to her place. And so, and she had no idea really that that was something that was even in the works, affordable, even something that could be done for a small business like hers. And so solving that problem was huge. Another thing that I find is just people think that some things are really, really expensive to get done, and or they think, well, I've got this and that's good enough, and they don't really understand that this is how your business is being represented. And this, it's yeah, it's out there, but one, it's not your personality, it's not you, it's not, and a lot of people, they don't realize that your brand is so much more than just a logo. And you can plop your logo on something, but yeah, it's going to be a lot more effective if you've really got your branding down. And I get it. It's hard when you're just starting out and money is an issue. You want to just put something out there, but give yourself a timeline as to, I'm going to have this, this, and this. A website or a this page or something by this amount of time, so that you can really start promoting. I go to some people's Facebook pages, they have a small business, and even on their personal page, there's no link to their business at all. And that's one of the first things that I tell them is, if I'm talking to you personally, I may not need whatever it is you're doing or selling, but I should at least, be able to say, oh, she sells this, or oh, she does that. You want people to know who you are and what you do. So that's another thing that I run into.
So now, if Michelle was starting a business today, what would
She'd be
she tell
crazy.
herself?
She'd tell herself, no, not something else. No. Well, I think that's probably why Fabulous Business Solutions has been so successful, is because I took my struggles and, for lack of a better word, failures, although I don't consider them failures, because I learned from them and rose from them. But I took what I had learned from my other years of being here and running businesses and revamped how I do Fabulous Business Solutions, to the point that now I've kind of changed my model all the way across the board for how I conduct business with all three of my businesses. So I would say, find what works for you. What works for somebody else may not work for you. And once I set up a platform for Fabulous Business Solutions, which, I'll be honest with you, most of it consisted of delegating, it totally changed the dynamic of the way I did business. And so now I'm able to delegate more through the magazine and things like that. And so just that learning and finding what worked for me instead of treading water has really, really been beneficial.
All right. So, is there anything else you'd like to add for the aspiring entrepreneur who is listening and watching? What advice? What do you want to say?
Just find yourself a tribe. Find yourself somebody that you can get advice from, and take all of the information. I always say, kind of like a fish, chew the meat and spit out the bones. Not everything you see, hear, or do is going to be for you. So that's okay. Find what works for you and go for it. But take it all in and learn from it, and just find that little group of people that are going to support you, whether you rise or fall, and are going to, and by support you, I don't mean they're going to buy your stuff or give you money. I mean, they're going to be there when you're ready to fire yourself, when you're ready to say, I can't do this, or I need somebody to help with this, or I need that. There's somebody that's going to be by your side and help you through whatever struggle you're having, but they're also going to cheer you on for even the smallest little victories, because those little small victories in a business are huge. You could spend 6 hours doing something, and I've done that. I've spent 6 hours trying to figure my very first publication. I bet I spent 30 hours learning that program, and I was so proud of that first issue. And now I look back and I'm just like, oh my gosh, what the heck? But I was so proud of it because it was something I had never done before. And I met with people and learned different things and just taught myself how to do it. And so that made it all the more special to me. And I had a group of people that are saying, you can do this. This is awesome. This is wonderful. And now here I am putting out my 25th issue. So had I listened to the voice in my head and gone, oh no, this is too much, I can't do this, I may not be doing that today.
All right. Okay. Well, Miss Michelle, Brian, I certainly appreciate continuing this conversation because,
Always a pleasure.
the first 9 hours that we talked, it was extremely informative, but, we didn't have time to cover everything. So I'm glad you agreed to come back so we could talk to the rest of it. All right.
Absolutely.
So, Miss Bryant, thank you, and you enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully
Thank
we'll get
you.
the